Hey, all right. What's going on? Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Welcome to the half hour of horror. Man, tongue twister already. With me, Aaron McLean, and my co-host. Oh, hey, it's Chase. What's going on, man? Happy
Hello.
Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. How was your holidays?
Oh, it was great, man. We didn't cook. Ever since my kid has been born, we're like, you know what? We don't want to cook. So we've been going to this restaurant in town. They do the whole thing for us. And this time we actually went to the steakhouse, Enzo's, and it was delicious. I'm not a big turkey guy. I had turkey this season, but like usually I'm just kind of like pretty mid on the turkey. Are you a turkey fan? Do you like turkey for Thanksgiving? Or are you like, yeah, that's just a dry bird?
I do like turkey, but I prefer ham
Yeah,
over turkey.
it's funny because like sometimes it's just tough. If it's done right, a good turkey's hits the spot on Thanksgiving. And this year I did have the bird and it was really good. But again, I didn't cook it. They didn't dry it out. It was perfect. Um,
It's such a weird poultry to cook.
yeah.
'Cause it's like if you it's easy to undercook it. If you do
Mhm.
it just right, it's nice and tender. But if you even slightly, even by like seconds, overdo it, it can be super dry.
Dry.
It's just such a weird poultry to cook.
Monstrously large bird. My brother fries them every year. He's never had any of those hilarious disasters. I hear those are delicious, so that's cool. But yeah, if it's done right, it's done really right. But if it's not, what's the best side? What's your go-to side?
Green bean casserole.
Green bean. I like green beans with the sausage and the like. That's my
Ooh.
go-to. Like if it's and like yeah, green beans are good. I also really like a good like mashed potato with garlic in there. See, I'm hungry again. You guys can't tell. I have not had enough lunch. Today we are talking about Thanksgiving horror, a very tiny subgenre, surprisingly tiny. So tiny, most of the movies in here are terrible. It's kind of the way I like them, though. They're fun for their own reason. So we're going to get into some of that. And we're going to be giving away some awards because Blocktoberfest, the results are in. So this is the official award show for Blocktoberfest. Thanks to all who watched the shows. Thanks to all who voted. Thanks to everybody watching in the Prophets Theater Live. We appreciate you guys and everybody watching on X, YouTube, any of our other socials. We appreciate you all. So welcome to the Blocktoberfest Award Show.
Should we give out our first award?
I think it's time. Let's give out our first award. This
Do it.
is the M.L. Bullock's Best Tension Builder Award for the most suspenseful scene. This film gets a cash prize. Sweet. And let's do it. I got the winner right here. Let's see. Can I memorize it? Old Johnny Carson joke. Can I think it? And we'll pop it open. And the winner of the ML Bullock Tension Builder Award is It Visits Me. There you go. Amazing.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yes. That was a really cool one because that was about the angel, the sister visiting her sister, and she's like, I get visits from an angel, and her sister's like, right. I I love how they did that one. Really creepy, really well done. And of
Yeah.
course, big thanks to ML Bullock, an author who makes many tension-filled books in their own right. So thank you for that award, and thank
And
you to Cameron Gallagher who
Hammer
directed that.
Galler.
Big shout out and congratulations. So there's our first award down. What
Right.
movie should we talk about? If this was a pairing at a Thanksgiving feast, what would we pair with this winning film?
It might be a little bit completely opposite,
Yeah.
but it's the most recent one. It's probably, I would say, the most now successful Thanksgiving horror themed movie.
Yep.
Let's talk about last year's hit, Eli Roth's Thanksgiving.
I've always like Eli Roth is one of those directors who I didn't get the hype. Hostel was fine, but it was like in that torture genre that I'm not a big fan of.
Mm.
Um, Cabin in the Cabin Fever did not land for me. It had some cool moments, but like its mix of comedy and horror kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And then he was just from that point I was considered a master of horror, and I was like, why? He did two movies and one of them was okay. So I wasn't clamoring for this film. I was like, that was a great trailer for sure.
Oh
It
yeah.
came out and defied all expectations. This to me is his best film. It is a great Thanksgiving slasher. Super well done, super fun, great kills, over the top in all the best ways. I think this is where you earn that, like, this guy makes good horror movies title. Is this one was great. Where did you see it? Did you get to see this in theater, or was this a years later on home release?
I saw this 3 times in theaters.
Oh, man, good for you.
So yeah, I'm the same way about Eli Roth also, but I'm a little bit, I would say I'm a little bit more on the mixed side for Eli
Mhm.
Roth's horror films. I enjoy Cabin Fever. I enjoy Hostel. Hostel Part 2's
Yeah, more of
didn't
the
really
same.
care. Yeah, didn't really care for Green Inferno. So like it was like, okay, like, he's okay. I wasn't really big on him. So for those who don't know, the concept of this movie first came in 2007 with the film Grindhouse. Double
Yes.
feature, 2007 double feature film. One film directed by Robert Rodriguez, Planet Terror. That's kind of like a zombie bionuclear kind of post-apocalypse film, kind of, I would say, in the same vein as George A. Romero's The Crazies in a
Yeah.
way, with a
With more gooey. Yeah, more
more
gooey version of
gooey,
the crazy. Yeah.
very stacked cast too, because you had Josh Brolin, you have Bruce Willis, Rose McGowan, uh, someone who I'm a big fan of for her music, Fergie. Uh,
Yeah.
um, you have like several big names in this movie. Very fun. Then you also have Quentin Tarantino's Death Proof, which is kind of a throwback to kind of the muscle car films of the 70s with Kurt
Yep.
Russell, uh, Rosario Dawson, also Rose McGowan, Mary Elizabeth Winstead. Big names for that one also. But at the beginning of the movie, you get a fake trailer for Machete, which would 3 years later become its own thing, which was kind of a throwback to the Charles Bronson revenge movies. Then
Mhm.
you three in the middle, fake trailers. So one of them was Rob Zombie's Werewolf Women of the SS, which was kind of a throwback to the Nazi exploitation films of the 70s.
Ilsa, She Wolf of the SS is that probably the most notable reference that he's making there.
Right.
And then, of course, as you mentioned, this one, which
Yeah,
was one of the strongest trailers. It was
it
so, you
was.
were like, yeah, this is great.
Yeah, this one is like a kind of a throwback to like stuff like The Prowler, My
Yep.
Bloody Valentine, Halloween, Silent Night, Deadly Night, excuse me. And this one, yeah, this was like one of the kind of the best received one. This was like the one that people wanted to see the most.
Yeah.
And it just never happened because Eli Roth was just doing other projects. And of course, in 2022, it announced Eli Roth was, who at that time was filming the video game adaptation Borderlands, which tanked this year at the box office. And they had to do reshoots, and he dropped out of reshoots and decided, no, I'm not doing it. I want to make Thanksgiving instead. And when they
Great.
announced it, I was like, yes, it was like 16 years in the making. I've been wanting this movie for 16 years. So I was like, when this movie comes out, I'm going to support, even if it fucking sucks, I'm going to support it in every single way.
And luckily, it was surprisingly good. On
Yeah.
this list that I have, um, it is probably one of the higher budget ones and best made ones. Um, it starts on Black Friday where a store trampling leaves some people dead. It's a town disaster. And years later, the pilgrim arrives, who is a man dressed as a pilgrim, killing people. And
John Carver.
John Carver, pretty straightforward, but solid in all respects. And the kills are great, really gnarly. Eli Roth knows how to do a good setup for that stuff. Um, a pretty decent cast. I mean, most notably, obviously, McDreamy from Grey's Anatomy fame is in there.
You got Patrick Dempsey, Gina Gershon in the opening.
Yep.
Controversially, Addison Rae, who is a famous social media star, not necessarily an actress. I think she's done some acting, and
Hmm.
supposedly she's done previous acting jobs before, and they said her performances have just been panned. I
Yeah.
thought she did okay. I thought she did okay with Thanksgiving. She was just kind of the main girl's friend, but I thought
For
she was
us,
fine.
yeah, for a slasher movie, I'm not expecting Oscar-winning performances,
Yeah.
so they're doing fine. I dig it. Like and it has good setups and it has some really good tension too. Like the I really liked the Thanksgiving Day parade that they have, and you're like, "Where's the killer?" And I really like those setups, and they do a good job of keeping you guessing. Did you guess who the killer was? When did you know?
I couldn't guess.
Really?
Yeah, I couldn't figure it out. Like at the end, I was actually like, I think it was like towards the end.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go into too much spoiler because it's still a relatively new movie. There's a scene where it's like towards the end where it's to the final girl
Yeah.
and the person who would be the killer kind of sitting together in a room talking about what had just happened. And I was like, "Ooh,
Oh, see, I kept being like, it's got to be him, got to be this character, and then you're like, well, no, I guess it can't be that character because he's here and the killer's there. And when you figure out who it is, you there's a scenario in my head where in multiple scenes he must be like, oh no, where's the killer? Run, get in his car, turn his car on, drive, get to a location, put on the costume, put on the mask, put on the hat, grab his ass, run into the room, start hacking people up, run back to his car, get in, turn it on, drive. And like he has to be driving back and forth between these locations because there's literally scenes where he's in one place and then the next scene in the it's a horror movie. I don't care, but I want that behind the scenes where he's just like, hey guys, what I missed? And like, oh no, John Carver just killed somebody. He's like, you don't say. Really? Oh, that's terrible. And you're like, why are you so out of breath?
dude,
No, I was
dude's
just running
cardio, dude's cardio must be insane."
back. Right? People are like, oh man, he's driving really fast. He must have somewhere to be. Like,
He's on the go.
he is a guy on the go. That like seriously, once you guys watch it, once you know who we're talking about, watch it with that lens and perspective. You're gonna be cracking up because it's really funny. And I think he goes out of his way to make sure it works, but barely. Barely
And
doesn't make it work.
another
Um
thing I really love about this movie too, because
yeah,
again, I am a big fan of the original fake trailer.
yeah.
Um, One thing, there is a notable difference between the fake trailer and the movie. So the
Hmm.
fake trailer's aesthetic is more of these previous mentioned slashers that I mentioned earlier, like Silent Night, Deadly Night, The Prowler, My Bloody
Yeah.
Valentine. Those are that's kind of more in that same vein, where the film is kind of more a tribute to slashers from the 90s, like the Scream movies, like
Yes.
I Know What You Did Last Summer, Valentine. It kind of takes on that kind of aesthetic and that kind of vibe. And you know what? Honestly, I know a lot of people were upset that he didn't match the same aesthetic from the original Grindhouse trailer, but I honestly think it works because Demi James mentioned the other day on his Thanksgiving kill count that he said right now a lot of these horror movies that are coming out are copying that 80s aesthetic, that
Yeah.
80s vibe, having that 80s setting. So to have something kind of like, no, we're going to do this movie as kind of a 90s style slasher. I think that works because you don't really get a lot of that except for the recent Scream movies.
Yeah, I agree. But the 2000 aesthetic for like Jennifer's Body, as you mentioned, the Scream movies, that kind of like slick darkness, um, very clean. You know, there's no film grain.
Mm.
The colors are muted. It does make it feel more contemporary. And I think if he had just like pushed it to that 80s aesthetic, yeah, I don't know if it would. I don't know if it would have the same impact. Part of me would think you like I've often said this. If you found this on VHS, how would you feel about it? And I think you can forgive a lot of things, as we will in pretty much any movie that we talk about after this. We will have to forgive how cheesy or bad some of these things are. And it's this one by being slick, by having that polished look, I think is taking on a lot of responsibility to be good and not have glaring plot holes, not have terrible actors. Like if you look this good, you have to be that good of a movie. If you looked
Right.
like a cheesy 80s thing, you could be like, well, that's the style they're chalking it up to. So I give him credit for being like, no, we're going to be the mature version of this. And in a sense, it worked. He pulled it off, and I
Right.
give this movie a lot of credit. I think it's a yearly watch for me for Thanksgiving. Um, which is a big feat after this week of doing some homework. I've been like, oh man, these movies are rough, but that's okay. That's okay. The next one I want to talk about is one that I love. It's on that borderline of horror, but this is Adam's Family Values.
Ooh, yeah. I keep forgetting that this is a Thanksgiving movie.
It is. It is in a sense. When they go to camp, they do the first Thanksgiving, and we get a hilarious like scene where Wednesday ties up all the other pilgrims, and Pugsley as the turkey is hysterical to me. Um, I love the Adams Family movies. I think Raul Julia and Christopher Lloyd and Jennifer Hudson, uh, not
Angelica,
Hudson,
Angelica
Angelica
Hudson.
Angelica
Angelica
Hudson,
Houston.
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 Why can't I get these names right? Angelica Houston, they're incredible, and obviously Wednesday,
Christina
by Christina
Ricci.
Ricci is phenomenal. I love the first one so much; it's one of my favorite movies. Period. And Adam's Family Values, though not as good as the first one, is really
It's
fun
so
and
fun.
hits that holiday vibe really well.
Yeah,
So
this one is a lot of fun. This is one I watched a lot as a kid. I haven't really watched it recently, but I need to go back and check it out. But yeah, you can't go wrong with the first two '90s Adams Family movies because yeah, you got, you know, a stacked cast. And I honestly feel like everything they've tried to do Adams Family after just hasn't matched up to those original two films.
Yeah, I 100%. Well, you lost your star power for one, and like, the animated one was way more child friendly, which that's
Yeah.
fine. If you're introducing it to other people, that's fine. But it's a hard it's a hard magic to capture. And like when you had one of the best actors of his era, Raul Julia, just crushing it, and Christopher Lloyd is a joy at all times. Like you're not going to match this cast ever again, and they nailed the tone because it how do you update that cheesiness from the 50s and 60s that was the Adams Family TV show? Super fun, but like we saw what with any of the Munsters reboots, the same thing. They were able to make this feel like it fit in the 90s and fit right. And that's
Right.
hard to do. And I give them
Uh-oh. Aaron, you there? I think I'm frozen. One of us is. Uh-oh. Um Wait, Aaron, can you hear me? Um yeah, I think Aaron's frozen. Wait, Aaron, can you hear me? Okay. So yeah, Adam Sandler until Aaron can get back on here. Yeah, you are all right. It is something that it is hard to kind of match that aesthetic, you know, ever since they've done it. Um, so yeah, let's wait. Oh, okay. Okay, let's wait a couple minutes, guys. Sorry. Okay. Okay, so update, Aaron said his house lost power. So let's wait just a couple minutes. We're just going to take a brief intermission, guys. You know what? While we are on here, guys, I think we should give out our second award for the Blocktoberfest. So yeah, our next award will be from Bones Coffee. It will be our most brain bending award, or the best twist also has a cash prize. So let's announce this award. And the award goes to Closing Time by Spencer Kelly, which was one of my favorites from the Blocktoberfest. When Aaron gets back on, we'll pop up the graphic. But yes, we are going. But congratulations to Closing Time, to Spencer Kelly, and thank you, Bones Coffee, for presenting this award for Most Brain Bending Award. There we go. Awesome. Congratulations, guys. Congratulations, Spencer. All right.
I heard someone lost power.
What is going on, Mike?
Hey,
Everyone, welcome, Mike.
Hey, everybody.
The brain behind Block of Horror.
One of the many. One of the many.
One of the many. So how are you doing?
I'm doing well. I heard everybody had a Thanksgiving while we're waiting for Aaron to come back.
Yes, he had lost power.
Man.
He had lost power, and he said it popped back on. So right now he's working on getting everything back. So yeah, congratulations to Spencer Kelly for Closing Time, for winning this Best Twist, Most Brain Bending from Bones Coffee.
Semi-food related, right? Took place in a diner.
Exactly. So what do you think? We were just talking about Addams Family Values. What do you think of this one?
I actually just rewatched that scene, the one where everything goes to hell at the summer camp.
Right.
No one has done anything yet that is like like an accurate depiction from that time period, at least that I've seen. I think we need a horror movie that is maybe an alternate reality of the natives winning and killing the pilgrims. I think we need something like that. Something with mutant turkeys that come out of nowhere. I think we need to make that movie.
Wait, you said mutant turkeys?
Yeah, is that I imagine that's a thing already, but it would be really cool to add that.
Yeah, there is one called Thanksgiving. Wait, there he
He's
is.
back.
Hold on, can't hear anybody. What's going on right now?
We hear you. Thanksgiving, I have not seen this.
Oh, Thanksgiving is a lot of fun.
I'm back.
Awesome.
Hey, there he is.
Awesome. So yes, while you were out during the intermission, I presented the award for our Bones Coffee Presents Most Brain Bending Award. And of course, it was Closing Time by Spencer Kelly. So
congratulations to Spencer Kelly.
Spencer Keller, excuse me.
Spencer Keller. I mean, these movies are just so fun. Closing Time was great, taking place in a diner, obviously. Fantastic atmosphere, really creepy. I love the use of red in that film. Which it's funny because it's something people don't think about, is like what the colors of your location are. It takes a lot, so very exciting, super exciting stuff. Yeah, my power was just like, hey man, I've been working hard overtime. You're cooking too much. You got a heater running. I mean, I just gonna quit for a second. So everything just went boo.
You got a jacuzzi running out there too? What's going on here?
Right? I got my sous vide running over it. No, and like I have an APC, and the APC was like, nah, I'm not.
Yeah.
You didn't charge me up enough. But hey, thanks for hopping in and taking care. The show must go on, right, guys?
Yeah, I was sitting there for like a minute, like,
Oh, I heard you guys. What were you talking about? What movie were you?
We were bringing up because he had mentioned he'd like to see a horror movie with mutant turkeys, I said, well, you need to check out Thanksgiving.
Do you though? I watched this the other night, and that killer turkey is really rough, man. Here's what I will say. One of my favorite parts about it is there's a sequel called Thanksgiving Part 3. It totally is like Part 2 got lost to the ethos. You can't find Part 2.
It was so bad all copies got destroyed.
And the first one is rough. It is so low budget. I give them credit. They made a movie for $3,600. That is right. 3,600, not 36,000, $3,000, $3,500. And this rude, crude, like low life turkey shows up and starts killing teens.
30-something-year-olds playing teens.
Yeah. I wrote down a couple of things here that made me laugh. I took some pictures of reviews. And here's one that said, "How did a 60-minute movie feel like 3 hours?" Okay. Here's one of my favorites. "This is canonically what happens behind the turkey door in Nightmare Before Christmas."
Chaos just said yes. Thanks, killing 3 fucks.
Yes. See, I'm glad people do appreciate it. I will give them credit for making a movie that people responded to, and it's fun. I think if you had the right group of people, this could be a hysterical watch. Here's a review that says, "Pooping in your husband's coffee because you want a divorce is just a power move on a level I don't think I'll ever reach." That does happen in the movie. Oh God. This movie is kind of like the giant shit you take after Thanksgiving dinner. Disgusting, but great. These are reviews for a movie. Yeah, I think it's one of those movies that if you have the right crowd, you're gonna have a lot of fun with it. Me watching it for homework was just kind of like, my wife was like, What are we watching? We could have been watching Trains, Planes, and Automobiles, and we're watching this instead." Yeah. Thanksgiving, that turkey, man. I'm glad that they made that movie. I'm glad that people like it. I'm glad that it has a cult following. But somebody also said, if this is the movie I keep returning to for Thanksgiving, we need to make more Thanksgiving horror movies. I can't disagree with that. We should get more. How about we give away another award? I'm going to jump the queue a little bit, and I think we're going to do our audience award because we have a special guest hiding in the wings. I hope he's ready to come on. This is going to be our audience award. This is the one you all voted for. We're super excited. And the audience award, Blocktoberfest, goes to Meat Cleaver. Let's hear it, guys. And we have the director with us. I'm going to bring him on. This is Jared Asher Harris. Welcome. How are you?
Good. How are you guys?
Fantastic.
Great.
I'm so glad you made it. I had a technical snafu. My house was just like power off. So I was really worried that I was like, oh no, we have special guests. Thank you so much for submitting your film to Blocktoberfest 2 years in a row. You had a great entry last year. A really cool, it was a music video, if I remember correctly, that was super fun. But this year, Meat Cleaver well deserved this win. The audience loved it. I loved it. I want to talk to you a little bit about this. First question, what's your day job?
What's my day job?
Yeah. Are you a director full-time? Have you made that happen? Or is this like moonlighting? You just make awesome movies on the side. What do you do?
Direct a lot of music videos. I edit all of my own music videos.
Fantastic.
On rare occasion, I'll edit for other people. Lyric videos I would have done more in the past. And now I'm starting to dive into a little bit of the world of commercial type stuff as well.
Fantastic.
I have some cool stuff coming up this year.
So you make movies full time?
Yeah, movies full time, not yet, but I'm making stuff full time.
That's awesome.
Congratulations,
because that's so hard to pull off. I mean, it is. Most people don't get to do what they love every day, and to get to make content, make movies, make music videos. I did a lot of lyrics videos. I know that game.
Oh yeah.
Really fun, man. Super cool. Meat Cleaver just hit me with this wonderful tone right off the bat. How would you describe its tone? Do you call it a comedy? Do you call it like what? How do you describe it to people when you say, "What's Meat Cleaver"?
Well, I'd say it's probably, if I had to just pick one, I'd say like dark comedy.
Yeah.
I'd say it's I don't know, like a return to form of kind of very not what's the word, sincere, like storytelling, like very very it is what it is, and very like pure in its intentions, and kind of like not so much a post modern commentary. It's very feel goody. I don't know, because people say it kind of has like a nostalgic vibe to it almost.
It does.
I mean, you're just having fun with it across the board. The 4:3 aspect ratio, acting. I mean, incredible actors, but that also comes down to directing too. So congratulations on just getting great performances out of these people. The devil steals that scene so hard. I want to watch that show. Like, can we make a show where that devil just every week meets new people and then God meets new people? Like, this could be like, I would watch this show. 2 rooms. That's all I need. 20 minutes, just people talking back and forth of just the silliness of it all. But again, it makes sense. You don't need to over explain it. We get it. And I love that. How did you affix the meat cleaver? I want to know the behind the scenes.
The most disappointing and simplistic of ways, the classic, it's cut out, it's like there's a shark bite out of the cleaver.
Yeah.
And then very talented both a director, cinematographer, and also a VFX guy, Joseph Sperber. He did the digital retouching for any cracks in the middle. Yeah.
Very nice.
That is awesome.
We call in the biz, we call that a Steve Martin rig.
Oh,
for Steve Martin would wear the arrow.
Oh,
through
right.
the head.
Yeah.
So we do that a lot in TV shows. It's a classic, but I figured it was something along that lines, but it looked great. So I was like, attached to a headband.
Yeah, exactly.
Pretty much. Where did you find your actors?
Actors Access. One of these online casting, just post a casting call. My friend and producer of this film, Katie Ann Moy, she not only produces but also acts, and because of that makes for a wonderful casting director. So we just did the classic thing, put up a call, and really of all the people that applied, there was really one out of all of them that seemed to just stand out, and those were the people you saw in the final product. So we were very fortunate.
That's awesome, because I mean, in an open casting call like that, it's so hard. You never know what you're going to get. It's a grab bag. And as we were talking about, like in Thanksgiving, a lot of times you're casting who you're casting your friends, you're doing the best you can, but you were blessed with some really awesome performances, really awesome actors, actresses, and
all four of them were phenomenal.
So fun.
And brought things like that I like. It was very much a mutual collaboration. Everything they brought to the characters, like, yes, there was so much, like, I cast them because like there was a lot that I imagined, but there's so much I could never have imagined that they brought to. So yes, you're right. I was blessed with both of them.
I'd have to imagine that with when you're really only in two spaces, and it's just memorize your lines and deliver them and do the thing. You get room to play. You don't have to be so rigid because you're not racing the sun. You're not chasing a next location. So you get time to play with the actors and be like, that was awesome. Can we like tweak it? Yeah. Do you have a moment that sticks out where you're like, we really got something cool out of it that I didn't think was going to be there or wasn't in the script? Is there anything that wasn't there that ended up on screen?
Yeah. So, the part where she yells at him, she goes, if you can just forgive me. And she's like, what are you talking about? I literally said to her, I was off camera reading the lines for her, for the murderer's part, so she could respond to them. And I was like, okay, now just like get pissed. And she goes, what are you talking about? It says, and it was just ad lib. Then she stops, right? And then she said, you put a meat cleaver in my head. And I thought that was so funny that I was off screen snickering because I thought it was so fucking funny, and I was trying to read the line though for her to react to, and I was just laughing. I couldn't collect myself, and then she went like, because I couldn't get my shit together, and I used that reaction of her going for when he goes, there's not really much I can do right now. It looks like she's reacting to that. Really, she was reacting to me on set not being able to get my shit together. So I guess that's a good thing, right? It's a good story.
Oh,
I
that's
love
great.
that. I mean, that's the sort of thing that those happy accidents, because that also tells, like, you would have never thought that that wasn't something that came out of editing. And you said you did your own editing on this?
Yeah, so my background's in editing. Like that's
Great.
yeah.
What do you edit on?
Premiere and Resolve. I bounce between depending on what I'm doing, step I'm doing that.
The color was great in this too. It really did feel really clean, really pro. That was really, hats off to that.
What was like your inspiration for the scenes of hell and then the scenes of heavens? Like what kind of like clicked with you? Is like, yeah, that's how I want hell to look, and that's how I want heaven to look.
Yeah. Well, I knew either way. I wanted it to feel very much like you're on purpose, like you're watching a film, and very heightened, not quite like sitcom lighting, but at least in heaven, just very bright. And then like I remember Griffin Volk, who was the cinematographer, saying like, oh, but there's no like light sources, like technically, you know what I mean? Like it's an enclosed room. Like the light emits from everywhere. You know what I mean? Like it just kind of like fun, just playing with it, not trying to be, we've gotten so excited, and for good reason, with like technological advents and what have you that have allowed us to like shoot in darker and darker environments and whatever. I like when everything's very lit up. So even like in hell, even though it's like dark, there's such color information, saturation, you know what I mean? Like that you wouldn't typically be getting from a dark environment. You know what I mean? So I guess regardless of if it was heaven or hell, heightened, very heightened.
I loved the visage of hell as like this, like, I don't know, bad car salesman's office.
That's exactly what I got too, because I live in the South, and like I've been to a lot of like auto repair shops that are like in the bad part of town that just look exactly like that.
I could smell it. The decades of cigarettes that have just been stale. Like
cigarettes and oil.
In terms of the actual like design stuff, like I think I saw like online there was a photo shoot someone did and it was a set build. It was like a photographer did this of like the vibe was basically like Chinese restaurant takeout or whatever. Like that was like the vibe, and there was like these like glowing like lights in the windows and like these red chairs, whatever. And I'm like, I wanted to feel very like in the way that heaven feels so like heightened and whatever. Like hell still feels heightened, but like in a way that we can relate to, which is what makes Satan funnier, because he's someone we could meet on the street, I guess.
Yeah, he felt very. I mean, they both did, but he stole the show for me. I mean, because he just had so much dripping character and sarcasm, and the red. I really gotta give credit to your makeup artist, because it's really hard to paint somebody red, and you guys did it in a way that like, well, we don't have to do full coverage, but we can stipple it in a way that feels natural to how a red, like if your skin isn't an even red. They did a great job with that, because a lot of times it's so hard to cover somebody completely and not have like that hairline, not have those edges. And they did it in a smart way where it was like any patchiness felt like real skin texture. And I thought that was a smart way to do it, as opposed to like, let's try to bathe this guy in a red paint bucket.
Kind of reminded me of like liver spots.
Yeah. It was cool. I mean, just really cool all around. What are some of your cinematic inspirations? What type of like genres do you like, or do you like? Is horror a place you love to play? Like, what's your genre inspirations?
Yeah, it's funny. I think in the place where like, or to use, if you're using the word horror, where that finds its place in my work, it's more an accent than it is the whole, I'd say, like picture of what I do. I love like horror, like especially like looking even behind you, Chase, like the Saw posters and everything. Of course, like I know it's in some ways like basic or can try whatever, but the Saw movies. Even I was talking to someone recently. Actually, I was at a film festival, and they were doing the like question stuff on like the carpet or whatever. And the question was like, "What's a horror film like you watched or recommend from this past year?" And rather than a film that I watched that came out this year, it was a film I saw, which was I rewatched Saw 2, and I was saying, rewatch Saw 2 and pretend you're not a human being and you have no idea what any of it means. And if you remove all of it, it's a really beautiful, pretty film. Like a lot of horror films, and that's what attracts me to them, is that they're so pretty. You know, it's not that I've always had a thing for like monsters or suspense or psychological, whatever. It's more like I feel like it's such a great medium and tone where beauty inherently is like contrasting because it's you know, horror, it's supposed to be horrible and ugly and scary.
Mhm.
So anyway, I think it's just a cool place to explore visually.
Do you like Italian horror films, the giallos?
Yeah, well, here's the thing. I'm incredibly underwatched. But I recently actually got all these books here. These little on Amazon.
Ooh.
Italian like horror.
Yes,
like,
horror
like
posters.
that.
Beautiful.
Like, so I was telling people, like, with, you know, technology and what we can do now, you know, you'd always get these really cool posters, but then, you know, the actual film itself, while it's so cool and there would be tinted lighting, it felt very normal. You know, I think now we have the chance to actually make films that look like the posters. So if I have a goal or a dream,
Mhm.
that world that you'd see in the posters for those Italian horror movies, I want to make the movie of those. You know what I'm saying?
I cannot recommend Blood and Black Lace more to you because its use of color is astounding. Like the purples, the vivid greens, the insane pinks, and just like that's my favorite part about it is like the story doesn't make any sense, but man, your use of color, it's just painting, you know, Suspiria, things like that. I love those movies because of their use of color, and their palette is so saturated. Whereas, you know, we were just talking about the Thanksgiving movie and how, I mean, great, but really muted. Like that's a dark film, browns and grays, it lives in. But I love that you appreciate the color and bring it out.
Or Repo the Genetic Opera is one of my
Yes.
all-time. That's actually one of my all-time favorite movies. I have a screen used thingy right
awesome.
there. But like my point is like I don't like always lead with it because I don't want people, you know, people judge on what your favorite movies or whatever. That's my favorite movie.
We don't judge here. We don't judge here.
You got to celebrate what you like, man, and like that is such a quirky, fun movie, but visually stunning and really cool, and
so unapologetically what it is, which I love, which is what stands out the most to me.
100%.
Yeah.
So, like, who is like one filmmaker, like one film?
Tim Burton.
Okay. You knew exactly where I was going.
Tim Burton. Do you have an era of Tim Burton? Like, like I know it's hard, but like a top 2 Tim Burton
films.
The
whole reason, the reason that I guess in the way in form that I exist today exists is because of Nightmare Before Christmas.
Right.
That is the reason I even thought of doing this as a child. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's so I'd say around that era. But then again, I do. Maybe it's just because of childhood nostalgia, but I love early 2000s Tim Burton too. I love Corpse Bride. I love the Charlie and Chocolate Factory. I love it.
Yeah.
My partner's going to be so excited hearing that. He's a huge Tim Burton fan. He's more Beetlejuice and Edward Scissorhands, but right. That's like one of his like favorite filmmakers. Yeah,
no. My AOL username, like AIM in middle school, was Tim Burton Jr.
That's amazing. Awesome. I mean, you're rocking the Tim Burton hairstyle too, man. I love those movies so much. As a kid, when I saw Nightmare Before Christmas, it really did speak to me as being like, oh man, you can love monsters this much and do your own thing, because like so many times you have to go franchise, and he was doing his own version of monsters that you recognized, which like was so inspiring. You know, he had zombies, he had Frankenstein monsters, but it wasn't the Frankenstein. He had you know, that to me was so interesting, and just the auteur of style is just so amazing to see. So you know, I highly respect those options, those choices. You know, absolutely, Tim Burton's one of the last auteurs with that style is unmistakable. Like you can't, you know, often copied but hard to beat. I love that. We got The Last Matinee is a newer film that pays homage to those type of films with the colors and the vibe. I love this movie. You know, it's a nod to the William Castle era of gimmicks. You know, smell-o-vision and 3D and the shocker, the tingler, you know, all that stuff. I love Last Matinee a lot from our watchers on YouTube. Let's give away another award. Do you mind joining us for giving away one of the next awards, Jared? Are you okay to hang out?
Yeah, I'll hang out for a second.
All right, let's hang out. Let's see here. So we gave away which one? Where were we at, Chase? Since I was gone for a second.
Have we given away? Okay, so while you were out, I did the Bones Coffee Branding Award, Brain Bending Award.
So we need to give away Red Tower's Skin Crawler Award.
Yes,
This is
we
for
do.
this is for the creepiest scene that really made your skin crawl, that really creeped you out. Where's my? I think I threw my envelope up in the air in frustration. We're gonna open it here. And the winner for the Skin Crawler Award, presented by Red Tower Entertainment, is Portrait of God. Congratulations. Yay. Portrait of God was so creepy. It had me literally leaning towards my television, my computer screen, because there's this moment where it's pure darkness. And I'm
It's
like leaning.
2 little yellow lights.
Yeah.
that
And
you
it's the
see.
eyes of the monster. So creepy. So well done. Well deserved. Congratulations to Portrait
Congratulations,
of
Dylan
God.
Clark.
Yes, congratulations. I definitely really enjoyed that one. So Jared, when you go out on all these film festival circuits showing your movie, and you get to see everybody else's films, is that intimidating? Is that inspiring? Where do you find yourself when you were at a film festival?
Yeah, well, I'm new to that whole process. Meat Cleaver was my first short film, so my wife as like an actual, not like a kid in middle school.
Sure.
So I'm new, so still going route, but it's very. I think it's very inspiring and exciting. Also, I'm just always blown away by I find myself always saying, how do people think of this stuff? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And people say stuff like that to me, but I'm like, hey, right back at you. You know what I mean? Like, so I think film festivals are a great place. Just if you weren't even going to meet anyone, just be inspired. It's lovely to see people just doing their thing. I was at Film Quest, which is a film festival that shares similar, I think, values and drive to you folks. You know what I'm saying, in terms of holding genre filmmaking to such a high regard.
Yeah.
So, they're a place. It's just lovely to see what's out there.
That's awesome, man. Just celebrating genre is so fun, and especially around the holidays, there's so many good holiday horror films. Christmas is my favorite time of year for genre holiday specific horror films. Do you have a movie, whether it's Thanksgiving, Christmas, or any holiday really, that is like holiday specific? Is there a film that stands out to you that's like one of your favorites in that realm?
Well, I saw a thing recently that Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 1 is a Thanksgiving movie, because there's a whole Thanksgiving scene, so I would say I can make that. I was watching that the other day, in spirit of Thanksgiving.
Is that your favorite Spider-Man iteration?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Really?
Oh,
I
yeah.
love that. That's great.
Those three films and Night Before Christmas are like my Bible.
I don't think people understand anymore the impact that Spider-Man had.
Oh no, it's if I hey look, I'm still like some idiot, you know what I mean? If I make it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The first thing I'm saying, if I make it on any Oscar stages, I want you. Sam Raimi's Spider-Man films is the reason I'm here. Like, you know what I mean? Like that, and like those films. And there are a lot of people, peers of mine, that also cite those movies as being a big, people who are growing up with. Like when I was young, that was the thing. That was like my Star Wars. Like people talk about growing up with the
I love
Star
that.
Wars.
That movie was such a huge event because I was 12 when that came out.
Yeah.
And I just remember my dad checking me out of school early to take me to go see Spider-Man opening day, us waiting in just a super long line outside the theater. Because again, this was before Fandango, buying your tickets on the AMC app, and just waiting, just everyone just so excited to see this movie. And it just had this big cultural impact.
Well, and it was the first one to really do superheroes, to me, that kind of superhero right. Obviously the Tim Burton Batman was my childhood, and the Tim Burton Batman nailed it, but that was Tim Burton's Batman, not Marvel superhero, DC superhero. That was not your comic book Batman. That's what the comic books like espoused to later, but that was a Tim Burton movie doing a comic book film, and we loved it. But this was the first time I saw a comic book movie that felt like a comic book, that fit the vibe of the Spider-Man I knew, and I loved that. I was a huge Fantastic Four fan, and the only thing I had was the bootleg Roger Corman version of that, which was rough, but I loved it. Super good. That's funny that Spider-Man's a Thanksgiving film. I never thought about that, but hey, if Thanksgiving's in the movie, I guess some of that if the themes are true, and there certainly are many themes of being generous, about family, giving, being thankful. I think Spider-Man espouses all that. So yeah, why not? Thanksgiving movie, Spider-Man. Let's go.
All right.
I love that. I that's a great choice because you don't hear that a lot. I think my generation of filmmakers, it was all like Boondock Saints and Quentin Tarantino movies, which, hey, nothing wrong with those. Those are fun too. But I love to hear that Spider-Man getting some love. If you got the opportunity, Marvel said, hey, we're rebooting the Marvel Cinematic Universe, who you doing? Is it Spider-Man?
Oh, of course.
Hell
yeah.
yeah.
Like and another dream of mine for sure to do a Spider-Man film or two.
How good would that be? I love that. And coming back, go ahead.
No, and I think it's just as cool. The whole thing. The last thing I'll say to make it full circle, even with the horror stuff. The thing about those movies is not only the movies themselves, just in a vacuum, are just great, but the whole even just idea of this, like, Sam Raimi going from just making these crazy like stuff with him and his friends and like a stranger and like investors, private people, like money, whatever, to like next thing you know, like the biggest movies ever made, like budget, cost to pay off whatever. Internationally, like I think it's just a great story too, and really speaks to the fact that like people who flock a lot of times to these types of cinema really have a certain artistry and expressiveness you can't find anywhere else, and that's why you can transcend genre. You can bring a horror guy into something like action, or bring a horror person to something like comedy, and a lot of times it works. I feel like horror people have a lot of universal sensibilities.
I think horror is a catch-all because it's the extremity of any emotion.
Of life. Yeah, I suppose.
I think you can take any emotion, if you make it strong enough, it can be horrifying. And I think that is like what makes horror so fun to play in. Like, even a comedy, something that's funny. It's so like, when I look at Brain Dead, I call it splat stick for a reason. And that's something that Evil Dead 2 lives in, that splat stick realm. It's so over the top and gory that it's funny. It's a Three Stooges bit, but instead of pie, it's blood and intestines. And it's like, you're just taking that to such a far extent that it is funny and it is fun to play in. And I love that Sam Raimi is one of those directors who's been able to live in multiple spaces, doing all sorts of different kinds of movies. Quick and the Dead is one of my favorite Westerns that he did. It's super fun. I love that stuff. Getting back to some of our Thanksgiving movies, there's a terrible one called Blood Freak that you all should watch. Blood Freak is this is a 1972, a giant horrible killer mutant bird. It's a dude in an awful costume. Again, this is get your friends, get some food, maybe some good beers, and laugh your ass off because it is so bad. It's worse than Thanksgiving. That's saying a lot. But Blood Freak is just wild trash. Really schlocky, really garbagey, but so fun in its own right. And there's a place for So Bad It's Good. I love that stuff. Jared, how do you feel about So Bad It's Good?
I think it's beautiful. I think like Neil Breen. I think stuff like that. Like,
yes.
You know what I mean? Again, I'm not going to pretend to be someone who knows like the deep cuts, but in terms of something like you look at like Neil, I think that's beauty. You can't if you can't make it, like you couldn't get people together to make that.
Yeah.
Like it's purely the right circumstances, the right time. It's beautiful. It's like watching the cosmos. It's like just happening in nature. I love it.
100%. Movies that you're just like, how did this happen? But like at the end of the day, friends got together and made something that's beautiful. Like it finishing a project. So many people have dreams about making things. So many people have dreams about making movies, and most people don't ever get it past. Most people don't even get the words on the page, let alone get your cameras rolling, get it in the can, get it edited. And as much as I may talk trash about a movie that's low budget or schlocky, I got to give them credit for getting it done, because most people can't even say they've done that. So hats off to all our low budget horror filmmakers out there who are getting it done. Good, bad, you just made it happen, because your first one, it's not going to be a slam dunk. It's going to keep getting better, because even though Meat Cleaver like is so polished and so great, it's not your first project. You've been making things forever, right?
Yeah, music. I do my music videos. I was always an editor, so I think if your background's in editing, you can put the pieces together.
I love that. I love that, man. We got a fun trashy one that we're showing tomorrow. Chase, I'm showing Blood Rage tomorrow in the Prophets Theater, where a lot of you are watching right now. Blood Rage is one of my favorite Thanksgiving horror films. That's not cranberry sauce. So good, so funny. A great slasher, but again, low budget and cheesy, but in the way that I love. It is
It works.
deliciously bad. Yeah,
It's
it is
so
deliciously
good.
bad. It is so if you guys are around tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific, check out Blood Rage. We will be in the Prophets Theater. Me and my podcasting partner on my other show, Launchpad Podcast, we'll be doing a little intro and then talking like a couple idiots for an hour afterwards. Come join us, watch Blood Rage in the Prophets Theater, chat along the side, and enjoy the show, because that's a classic that I cannot get enough of. That is a every year watch. Chase, do you have any other Thanksgiving movies? We've kind of run the gamut. There's not that many.
Oh God. I know there used to be like a series on Hulu called Into the Dark, and it was like mini movies. And each one was usually based around like holidays or special occasions like birthdays or Hanukkah or stuff like that. There was one called The Pilgrim, where it was a family hired a group of like people who like played as pilgrims, like, hey, let's give us the true authentic Thanksgiving experience, and it turns out they're like trying to slaughter them.
Okay, yeah. 2019 horror thriller Pilgrim. Here it is. Into the Dark, Pilgrim. I have not seen this movie, but I need to add it to my list, because like we were saying earlier, we just need to make more of these so that the ones that are stinkers don't have to be like on every list. Because I'm going through, I'm like, really, Blood Rage is one of
a good. You made before you brought me on. You were making a really good point about the lack of like if you're scraping the barrel to the point you're saying the Thanksgiving door. Nightmare Before Christmas is like that qualifies, then that means there's for sure a loss of Thanksgiving films. We need more. No, well, and you already talked about, of course, that Eli Roth one that came out recently, right?
We did, yeah.
But you were saying it wasn't. It was too. We were saying Brown. It was a little too serious. Is that what you're saying?
Well, no, we loved it, but it was. I was just saying, like like its vibe compared to like 80s horror, it was very like it had like it had that like 2000s horror like aesthetic, where it was like slick, everything was color corrected down to the darkness, and it was like it just had a slickness to it that worked in its favor. But I said, when you do that, you have to come correct and really pull through, because if you have an 80s cheesy movie with like cinema grain on it and it looks like a VHS tape, you can get away with plot holes and bad acting. If you're slick and you look this good like a 2000 Scream, you got to be right on all points. It did that. I think it pulled it off. I like
it. If something takes itself seriously, it has to earn it. You're saying, you're right?
Bingo.
Yeah. No, that's definitely a scary thing, especially with something as, down to the name, like a horror movie, like that's called, it was just called Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
Like even that, like you're immediately the current is immediately from the get-go against you as the creator of that, because you're expecting people to take seriously and the stakes of a horror film called Thanksgiving.
The thing is, it's such a big follow-up too, because I don't know if you were listening earlier, but it was adapted from this fake trailer that Eli Roth did for this movie called Grindhouse that was shown. And it's like the fake trailer is really in the same vein of like My Bloody Valentine, The Prowler, Halloween.
That might be a move, because I love just for in terms of coming up with creating a movie. If you can make a really compelling fake trailer for something, I feel like that is a good way of testing, because you know what else that happened with? The Daniel Radcliffe Weird Al, I know this isn't horror related, I'm sorry guys. The Weird Al Yankovic biopic, they did a college humor skit 8 years ago, and then eventually they're like, why don't we make the real thing? Anyway, that trailer thing's a very interesting observation. I mean, about the Eli Roth.
I loved that movie. I'm a huge Weird Al fan, of course. So of course I am. Yeah. But that movie was spectacular.
Well, then maybe you'll appreciate are you a Tiny Tim fan?
Oh, Tiptoe Through the Tulips?
Yeah, or that whole or do you know about his lore and all that stuff or no? There's a Weird Al Yankovic narrated a documentary about it, and that's why you should check it out. It goes under the radar. It does. You should check it out.
I'll have to check that out. I don't know if I'd say a Tiny Tim fan, but like he growing up, like he was married to Liza Minnelli, and there was a whole like scandal around that. So it's very that's what I remember him from, and just being like, what? Okay. So but I love any documentary, and if Weird Al's involved, I will check that out.
Yeah.
Very cool.
The bucket list project is for sure a Tiny Tim biopic.
That is so really.
Oh yeah, I want to. No one's haven't heard anyone talk about that yet. I think it's an incredible story. His whole thing, and also in an era before we really understood like what like autism was and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Having this person, basically because of being on the spectrum, and us not being as exposed to it as a humanity, one appearance, and you're the most talked about person in the world. Like the magic, like you're this person. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like now we take it for granted because we're like hyper aware of these like types of neurodivergent people. But the fact that back then one appearance of this weird person on TV, which wasn't a common thing, could light up the whole world. I think that's cool.
I mean, he was definitely a phenomenon, and that era where like, a TV performance could be seen worldwide and didn't get lost in the drowning.
Like his marriage, anyway, okay, I'm getting off topic. I just love talking about whenever I meet cool people like you guys who like are into cool stuff. I see their backgrounds, like I'm under I'm under like I have to get my badges still, my whatever, my whatever you want to call them. And I look at you guys, I'm like immediately like, oh cool, like they'll just talk about, they know pop culture stuff.
Yeah, I mean, see, that's the thing. I could talk for hours about any number of things. I mean, horror is the genre that I love to play in, but like you talk movies. I mean, I will talk anything pop culture movies because it is such a phenomenon. It's such an interesting place to play. Like, Chase loves wrestling. One of my favorite shows is
that's so fun.
Beyond the Mat, which is about the dark side of wrestling. And it's like, I didn't grow up with it, but any time a performer telling a story about the weirdness in that industry, it's fascinating. So I'm down for all sorts of crazy weirdness. Like I said, it's human condition, man. That's
one series you need to check out. It's on, if you like that, it's on Vice.
Yeah,
it might be streaming somewhere called Dark Side of the Ring.
That's the show. That's the show I'm thinking of. Yeah, I love that show.
Is it a documentary show?
Yeah, it's a documentary with reenactments, but it's all about wrestling. And again, I know enough to recognize the names, but at the end of the day, their stories are so wild because again, it's a lot of like shady dealings, bad managers. Maybe a little bit of cocaine. It's
funny though how wrestling, even like you're saying, you're liking that, and I've always felt like my friends in high school, a lot of those people were like, my friends were people who were like in these worlds, like even being into metal music, horror movies, stuff like that. But I feel like I was never fully. My parents were a bit less letting me fully jump into that stuff. My point is, I think it's so incredible, and I notice the people I was like talking to, it's people. The overlap seems to be horror films, wrestling, horror films, wrestling, superhero, and there's one more I'm leaving out. Like rock and roll music.
Yeah,
this is like the holy there's not Trinity, but there's a four
quadrant, a quadrology,
the quadrant, whatever. Like, I failed fucking algebra. I don't know. I'm not kidding. I brought down. I think I was like a whole deviation. I think lower than the college that accepted me, their GPA requirement. It was a miracle I got in.
Where'd you go?
I went to Emerson College.
Shut the front door. Hey, what up, Emersonian?
Oh,
Emerson,
are you?
Emerson Mafia, right up, man.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am. 2006.
No way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
2010?
Yeah, 2006 is when I graduated. I went in Boston when 100 Beacon and 6 Arlington were still a thing, man. I bet when you went, they had sold all that off and it was just Piano Row.
Yes. No, they didn't sell it talking about diagonally from Piano Row?
Yeah. 100 Beacon was 100 Beacon. 100 Beacon is where my dorm was, but they turned that into $1 million condos at this point.
Wait, you're talking about literally across the street from Piano Row?
Yeah. Way down there.
Where the Starbucks is?
It wasn't a Starbucks then there. It's where the
Dunkin'
Cheers
Donuts?
is. Yeah, where Cheers is. No, where Cheers is. Way corner.
Yeah, they sold that off. Good. Wow.
Sold it off. Yeah. It's been a while. So did you go out to the LA program? Were you out there?
Yeah, for a semester, and I was here, and I was doing a post-production internship. It's funny. I make the joke that I was a closeted director. Not sexuality, in terms of like, I would not admit to anyone that I wanted to be a director. I think I was very insecure about it. I think I hadn't accepted it. So I was just an editor. I would edit other people's stuff. I wouldn't leave my room. I actually didn't step on set of a single production in college, even. Wow. Like I was very, And then I graduated college, and I was like editing stuff, and I was at a debt, and I was like, oh, what the fuck? Like, what happened? Like, I had dreams of being whatever, so I quit my job and went to a production company. And I was like, I'll fast forward. But point is, yeah. So college was weird because I didn't get to make any films in college.
Oh, bummer, man. What year did you graduate?
2018.
You spring chickens. I'm proud of you, though.
God,
That's so
you're
cool, man.
young.
I know. I love it. I'm so happy for you.
But don't worry, though. I have there's a lot of problems. I don't want you to think I have it easy here.
No, of course not.
Yeah.
I mean, you go out to LA, it's an adult dose of reality, but it's amazing that the generations keep going. And Emerson, what a great place to be young. I mean, Boston was a fun town to be young in. But and are you out in LA now? You're living in LA now?
Yeah, well, I was born and raised LA.
Good for you.
But here's the thing. I think the reason I have such an interesting kind of like taste or whatever is because I was like, even though I was born and raised LA, I feel like I didn't really fit in LA. Like I felt that's why I think I identified with Tim Burton from a young age, because like his whole thing was being like feeling like the loner in the suburbs, and that's how I felt, growing up. And I read his like biopic biography. I actually have it right here. Burton on Burton. It's like a compilation of interviews, stuff like that. Anyway, I read that in middle school, and I was like, oh, okay, so I can live a life and be like this guy. I'll take that, That's
awesome. I mean, it's amazing. What a small world to be alumni. I just went back and gave an Evie out last year.
Oh, get it! That's so fun.
I gave an Evie out for best supporting actors. I went and spoke at Emerson to some students who are still there, and they're like, everything's going to be okay, right? It's like, I don't know, man. You're going to have everything in your back pocket, but just keep making things. Don't stop with your dream.
That's the thing that sucks, because when I was younger, like that's what everyone would say.
Yeah.
And now I find myself saying that. It's like, fuck. I get so angry. I'd be like, help me, give me advice. They'd be like, just keep doing what you're doing. That's all you can really tell someone.
That's all you can do.
Other than to quit. It's either quit or keep doing what you're doing.
Be willing to pivot. That's my other thing to say to people is your path to director or your path to actor might not be straight. You might have to bounce to this, to that, to this casting director. Then I worked on set as a PA, and then I did this, and then I edited, and then. But you're going to be bouncing back and forth. But try and go lateral. But don't go backwards, don't go back. Always try and move forward. But like at the end of the day, just keep making things. Doesn't matter what it is, just keep being creative. That's why we're doing podcasts, shows, live streams. That's why I write. I can't just jump into whatever it is you're trying to do, but that's why you just keep going and keep making things and keep trying to do something that keeps it creative. It might not be exactly what you want to do at the moment, but if you just keep moving your feet metaphorically in the right direction, you're going to get where you want to go. But yeah, they don't hand out those jobs. They don't hand out those positions. You just have to figure it out.
That's the problem. How do you work your way up a ladder where no one wants you to climb the ladder? The people up the ladder are like, go away now.
Go away. Yeah. And everybody who I've ever asked who was ever in that job, they're like, I got struck by lightning. And it's just so funny because they all got struck by a different bolt of lightning. Yeah. And it's so weird because there's no specific way, but you just have to be in the right place at the right time and just keep working.
Yeah.
Let's give away. Sorry, go ahead. I cut you off.
No, I was just saying on that note, like I appreciate you guys having me on this. I mean, like if you're saying every step counts. Like this means so much. Just being a part of all this, and so thank you.
Well, the Block of Horror community obviously picked your film as the audience award. They love your work. We hope to see more of it. Blocktoberfest has been eating up the stuff that you do, but we got one more award to give away, and that is the Killstar Grand Jury Award for Best Film. So you ready to dole this out? Here we go. All right. Are you ready, Chase?
I'm ready.
All right.
And the winner for Killstar presents Blocktoberfest Grand Jury Award for Best Film, Mora by Sam Evanson.
Sam Evanson, congratulations. Big respect to this movie. As a fellow VFX supervisor and seeing the VFX work that Sam has brought in his films, both years, Changing Room the year before blew me away. This film blew me away as well. Incredible use of VFX. And I love this one for being so topical in the sense of the fears of AI in our industry. And he really utilized it in a great way, but also utilized VFX and some incredible work there. Really creepy, really atmospheric, a terrifying story in such a short short, small packages. Congratulations to him. And those are our winners. What a wonderful Blocktoberfest. I think what a great success. I'm thrilled with everybody who showed up. Thankful to everybody who showed up. It's Thanksgiving after all. Everybody who voted and who joined us on the block this year. Just really, really, really cool stuff. A fantastic year, and we'll be doing it again next year as we move on. Coming up, we have a couple of fun things happening this for the end of the year. Specifically, we're doing our Freddy rendition of Freddy versus Santa Claus, a short script that I wrote. We'll be doing a live reading of it with actors doing the parts. Super fun. If you guys want to stick around on the block and do some shopping, there's some great deals going on today. Black Willow Gallery is a 25% discount for Dark Friday weekend. Use the code Dark Friday 24. Graveyard Wanderers 25% off throughout the weekend. Killstar, if you enter the code BF20, gives you a 20% off all Black Friday deals. Scarlet Graves is a 45% discount using Dark Friday 45. And the Craft Witch is using Block, B-L-O-C-K, can be used exclusively to the Block of Horror users, and you'll get Craft Witch products at 30% discount. So check those out on our social media. That will be in the Discord as well, which is fantastic. If you guys are doing some Black Friday shopping in the Shadowfield Mall on the block, please use the discount codes, get some discounts. That's awesome. And of course, as I mentioned before, we got the screening of Blood Rage tomorrow at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, presented by the Launchpad Podcast, my other show. Pimp that. Jared, please plug socials. What's your next project? Where can people follow you?
Follow me at Jared Asher Harris. I'm working on hopefully having more meat cleaver type stuff, but I'm in the works of having more of all the above. But yeah, at Jared Asher Harris. And yeah, if you like meat cleaver, or if you like anything in that realm and looking for someone making something different, or at least I like to hope, follow me. So awesome. At Jared Asher Harris. Also, everyone loved the end credit theme song from Meat Cleaver.
Yes.
So we just released that. Wendy's song from Meat Cleaver. It's on all streaming services and what have you.
Who did that? Who wrote that? Who did that song?
Yeah, that sounds great.
We brought in a guy, Mo Troper, very talented musician, and I had very weird specific notes down to the drum fill at the start, whatever. And basically had all these weird notes that I think to your average person, or it would scare you off, because it's how do all these connect? Somehow he took all of that and made this song down to the descending bass line, the key it's in. He took it all, and then so he's very talented, and people like it, so I'm happy.
I have an affinity for what I call the wrap-up rap, and this was a thing in the 80s and 90s where a famous rapper, let's say LL Cool J, would tell you the story of the movie in deeper, bluer. My hat is like a shark's fin. Yes, please. Yeah. I am obsessed with wrap-up raps. I have a collection of them because I think they're so funny. And you did a wrap-up song in that same vibe of hey, we're just going to tell you that. And I was just so stoked. I was like, oh, that's so great.
But then in terms of if there are any artists, or even you guys yourselves being artists and people just around this industry and stuff, people were really, you got to have a song, original song at the end of the movie. And I'm but it all adds to the big picture. And there were countless people, actually counts, I can't remember how many, tons of people asking for the song. And so all these little things, all you artists out there, things that people tell you aren't important details, they are important details.
Oh, big shout out to Dylan being in the theater. Thank you so much for watching. Congratulations on your award. Big shout out. We love it when the filmmakers show up. If I had known, we would have brought you up too. I love the wrap-up song. I think that's great. People should go check that out. In my zombie film that I made at Emerson, it was a zombie film called Love After Life. That was my film project, and we had a wrap-up song in it that is to the tune of Cher's Life After Love.
Yeah.
I heard the lyrics wrong, and I thought she said love after life, and I was a zombie. And that was the inspiration for that movie. I was literally taking a shower. I heard the Cher song from outside, in a car driving by. And I was like, did she say love afterlife?
That's a great story.
Yeah. I was like, did she say love afterlife? Zombies in love? I'll make that movie. And I needed a parody song. So
Yeah.
at the end, it's a ridiculously off-key parody song of Cher.
By choice, of course. Of course, that was a creative decision.
100% creative decision. Also, I had a bunch of funny notes to it, and the person who made it was like, "You mean like this?" And I was like, "Sure, done."
That sounds like a very Emerson project.
We have played that movie in the Prophets Theater, so super fun. Chase, of course, plugs.
Yes.
Tell people where they can follow
First
you.
of all, Jared, thank you for coming on. Congratulations. Love Meat Cleaver, and come back sometime. We loved having you.
You know where to find me.
Yeah, all right. So yeah, first of all, you can find me on everything: Blue Sky, Letterboxd, Instagram, and X at Oh Hey It's Chase. I think that's how you do it. Damn it. Okay. Yep. There we go. Oh Hey It's Chase. And then also catch me here every Saturday on Half Hour Horror. And also, if you're in the Prophets Theater right now at the Block of Horror virtual world at blockofhorror.com, stick around, because in about 14 minutes, we're gonna be doing a rebroadcast of the Blocktoberfest short films.
Oh yeah, you can see Dylan's Portrait of God, Jared's Meat
Cleaver, all the other award winners. So yeah, stick around, watch them again if you didn't get a chance to watch them when we launched. Watch them for the first time. They're all great.
They're so good. I was blown away by the talent and the quality this year. Every year we've had it, just stellar. I've sat through a lot of film festivals where things are a little amateur, not naming names, but this year, every single one of the films was spectacular and had merits of its own. And it was very hard to judge, but voting, I appreciate everybody who got over that challenge and voted for their favorites, because it was well worth it, and some incredible films this year. So watch those. I look forward to see what everybody does, but Jared, I cannot wait to see what you do next. Yes. And I hope you keep in touch. If you want to come back, talk film sometimes, we'd love to have you back. Always great to talk to directors. Dylan, if you're still in the theater, please come on the show. Let's talk horror, man. Portrait of God was fantastic, terrifying, and now an award winner. We are handing out the laurels, as you saw today. We will be putting those up. These laurels, which are super fun. I designed those, very excited about that. And following me, you can follow me at my other show, Launchpad Pod. Every other week we do some fun stuff. We dropped Sky Sharks this week, which was a fun little number. And of course, Block of Horror, everything. Instagram, X, Blue Sky, YouTube, all that stuff, Block of Horror. And then of course, blockofhorror.com to get on the virtual block to see the world that we've created, that we've been working in, and some more amazing events like Blood Rage tomorrow. So until then, guys, we're signing off. Jared, thank you again. We really appreciate you.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Talk to you guys soon. Bye, everybody. Drive safe. All right. So